Hello, Madam Misty.
Oh, I love the way that sounds.
Yeah.
I like it. Hello, John Isaac.
John Isaac. Ooh. That sounds
Isaac
like
the John?
It sounds like my Quaker name.
It really kind of does.
John Isaac.
I meant it because the clients of a madam are called Johns.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
And there's other words for it. But I can't remember the other words they are.
Okay.
So today we're talking about famous madams.
We are.
'Cause it's
the madams that made us.
The madams that made us.
Exactly.
Whose birthday is it?
Stormy Daniels.
Happy birthday, Stormy.
Happy birthday, Stormy. It's also Rob Lowe's birthday today. Which is kind of funny because Rob Lowe got caught in some pretty salacious scandals in his youth.
Yeah. Rob strikes me as the kind of guy that wouldn't have to reach for his wallet, though.
Probably not so much.
Let's find out.
Should we call him?
Well, right after these messages.
Okay.
I don't know why they're messages. It's the intro.
It is. I'm Misty.
And I'm Ike.
For the next 15 minutes,
We're going to debate pop culture.
my background's in music.
My background's in film,
I know the topics beforehand.
and I don't.
We check the internet for the facts,
And ruin it with opinions.
from pop rocks in your lunchbox.
To Happy Meal toys and swatch clocks. And we're back.
And we're back. All right.
Okay, so
So-
let's just, as a topic, go and let's kind of acknowledge, like, this was a male-dominated industry for quite a while, right? And then women...
Not really.
Really?
No, it actually started out to be very predominantly women back in the Wild Wild West. Women would run the brothels that were frequented by the cowboys of the Wild Wild West.
Do you think that is because of the sensitive nature of taking care of such a large flock of ladies? Men may not have been able to deal with some of the issues of the day?
No, I think that it came down to you had some women that were pretty strong-willed, both mentally and physically, and could take care of business when somebody got out of line.
Okay.
You know, like the women in the Wild West, the madams back then, weren't known as being great to the girls. They were there to make money. Mm-hmm. But they also were there to clean up the messes as well. Like if someone got out of hand and things like that. So I mean, men can clean up a body, but women can clean up a body. Like we know how to hide the bodies.
Today's episode is brought to you by Clorox. When you need to get blood out of your sheets, try Clorox. Use promo code Misty and Ike.
Oh, Lord.
So who are some famous madams?
Yeah, well, okay, so it's Stormy Daniels' birthday today, and so that kind of like, I started talking about maybe we do an episode about, porn stars that got big payoffs or made a lot of money somehow, and that kind of led us down to madams, which are way more interesting than any of this.
Yeah.
I mean, the most famous madam of all, of course, is Heidi Fleiss, the Hollywood madam.
That's right.
Movies have been made about her. She's written books. Mm-hmm. Basically, the bidding for her black book, I can't even remember the astronomical number that it went up to, but every huge gossip media outlet in the world was fighting over the rights to her black book, which was her client list.
Wow. Because
she was known to have provided services to basically every big time player in all of Hollywood and a lot of politicians, sports figures, like just across the board. Heidi Fleiss, you needed a lady. Heidi Fleiss was your go-to. She's who you called.
I've got two different net worths for Heidi.
Tell me.
She's worth somewhere between $1.5 and $2.5 million.
I would say that that's really sad because she was worth a heck of a lot more than that back then. But
I would think so.
Yeah. I
would think just to keep her mouth shut.
Well, she went to prison.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, she spent some time in prison. It was actually tax evasion, if I'm not mistaken, that sent her to prison. Because she wasn't reporting her earnings on the brothel.
The taxes.
It always is, because there's no proper way to hide money that's made illegally.
And if you ever hear about Misty and Ike being in prison, it's tax evasion.
Tax evasion. It's definitely not a brothel.
Because we're making so much money off Clorox, it gets blood out of sheets. Well, what are some other famous madams?
All right. So this one has always kind of blown my mind. There was this woman named Anna Gristina, and she was a mother of 4. I believe that it was maybe like the Baltimore area. She ran a multi-million-dollar prostitution ring.
Wow.
Yeah. She ended up getting caught for promoting prostitution. They said that she ran her prostitution ring for 15 years. The whole time while she was just your normal, average, everyday suburban soccer mom to 4 kids.
Wow.
I mean, it got to the point that she was paying off cops and using them as security for her girls. And she made millions for 15 years.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Do you know who the world's most famous madam is?
I don't. Who is it?
This article was written in 2015. World's most famous madam dies at 92.
Oh.
Madame Claude, a French madame whose client list reportedly included JFK, Marlon Brando, Muammar Gaddafi.
Wow. Muammar Gaddafi.
Muammar. Yeah.
Wow.
She's a former French resistance fighter who got her start as a businesswoman selling Bibles door to door. She managed a brothel near Paris's famed Champs-Élysées.
Champs-Élysées.
And that we're going to France. That at one point had the roster of over 500 women.
500?
Yeah, according to a 2014 profile in Vanity Fair, she counted the CIA among her clients. The agency apparently procured women through her brothel to help keep up morale during peace talks in Paris.
You know, it's funny because that's not the first time that I've heard about the CIA or the FBI or Secret Service. There was a big scandal a few years ago in South America with a bunch of American Secret Service guys that got caught and were released from their posts.
For entertaining young ladies.
For having young ladies entertain them.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think it's cool in like spy movies when the movie starts and you see this lady of the night walking down a hotel hallway.
Right.
And then she goes into a young man's room or an old man's room. And then it appears that she may be being employed for sexual services. And she pulls out a gun and shoots him right in the face.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you're a CIA chick. You're not a prostitute.
Yep. Or
Gotcha.
spy.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
You're super cool. You would never do that.
Nope. She just wants to shoot people.
Yeah, shoot him in the face.
I just ran into an interesting fact about Heidi Fleiss.
Yeah.
So in 1995, she was convicted of conspiracy, income tax evasion, and money laundering. Some of the women that she employed admitted to getting themselves $10,000 for a single encounter with a client. So that's what they made, not what she made.
Yeah, she gets what, 10% of that?
I don't know. I mean, what's the cut for a madam?
What's the cut for a madam? What is the cut for a madam? That's never going to Google.
While you're looking it up, I'm going to tell you this because I think this is great too. Heidi Fleiss inherited her business.
Oh, really?
Elizabeth Adams, who was known as Madam Alex, operated a Beverly Hills prostitution ring for 20 years until she was arrested in 1988. The Filipino native passed her booming business over to her assistant, who just so happened to be Heidi Fleiss. So she went to prison and handed her black book over to Heidi Fleiss, and that's how Heidi Fleiss started her biz.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right?
She's just like, here.
Yeah. I'm going to prison, so here's all, the thing I wouldn't give up, the names and the numbers.
That's
it's yours.
It's like hitting the lottery.
Right? Completely.
Wow.
Yeah. Did you find it?
I did
what
not.
A madam's cut is?
I did not. I found
I would figure it wouldn't necessarily be I don't know. I wouldn't think it'd be a percentage. I would think it'd be a lump, like a booking fee.
Procuring or pandering is the facilitation or provision of a prostitute or other sex worker in the arrangement of a sex act with a customer. A procurer, colloquially called a pimp if a male, or a madam if female, or a brothel keeper, is an agent for prostitutes who collects part of their earnings. The procurer may receive this money in return for advertising services, physical protection, or for providing and possibly monetizing a location where the prostitute may engage clients. Like prostitution, the legality of certain actions of a madam or pimp vary from one region to the next.
Oh.
Allegedly.
Interesting.
It doesn't go on to say what the percentage is.
Well, I'm going to need to know that.
I know. I mean, I could probably go, like, how much do pimps make? But how much do pimps make?
How much do pimps make?
How much do they make? Pimps and traffickers ranked in between $5,000 and $32,833 per week, employing an average of 5 sex workers at a time, with a high rate of turnover.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would like to definitely stray away from the trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to keep this to sex workers that do this voluntarily.
Sure.
And you're probably going to get a lot of weird messages after Googling that.
Well, you just asked me to Google it.
Well, I mean,
I'll cut it out.
No, I mean, I am interested in, like, what kind of money is expected for someone that, you know, runs some kind of a ring like that. But
well, how about this? Allow me to retort.
Okay.
Prostitution is said to be the world's oldest profession,
Truth.
but understanding the size and scope of this economy and the methods and actors involved in this trade is still a murky endeavor. Yeah. Outside the sex sold legally in Nevada, prostitution in the United States transpires in the shadows of an underground economy. There are no accounting records to trace, no receipts to scrutinize, and no legal records to analyze. Simply, it is difficult to grasp of this economy.
Very much. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about one of them that I think is the most intriguing because it involves a lot of people that are supposed to be held slightly to a higher standard. In Philadelphia, there was a woman named Sydney Beidel Barrows. She was known as the Mayflower Madam. She ran a successful escort service called Cachet out of a New York City brownstone under the pseudonym Sheila Devine. Her clients included lawyers, bankers, and businessmen, and she ran a tight ship with strict rules and high standards. Here's the thing that they don't really talk a lot about. From my understanding, she was a professor. And the women that she recruited were her grad students who were trying to pay for college. So basically, she looked at this in her mind as a way of providing them a way to pay for college. She also later wrote a book about proper sex etiquette. I did not know that that was a thing. I did not know that there was proper sex etiquette.
Well,
I kind of think it's like, you know, you have a safe word and it's whether you give enthusiastic consent.
Right.
I mean, that's really all it comes down to.
So there's etiquette when you're entertaining a lady of the night?
No, this was about sex etiquette as a whole.
Oh,
not about with escorts.
Oh.
About etiquette during sex, which I find very odd.
Huh. It's like, get your pinkies up, motherfucker.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Like I said, I kind of thought enthusiastic consent was really the only etiquette that was necessary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Most of the employees of MADAMS, in terms of revenue, about 18% of these types of employers say they impose a dollar figure quota that employees must earn each day. And it could range from $400 to $1,000 depending on the day of the week.
Okay. So, I mean, that makes sense.
Still haven't figured out what the cut is.
You're required to hit a money quota.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah.
like a cop. You got to write a certain amount of tickets.
Right. But I think, you know, it's funny because, like, when I look these up, like, it seems to me like most of the very successful madams actually worked in a different method. Like, they built on the idea of having repeat customers that wanted one certain person and that they treated those women well.
Yes. I think that's the main difference between the male pimp and the female
Very
madam.
much.
The madam, we're mainly referring to like old western towns or the legal portion of Nevada that allows it.
Right.
And it's a very nice house that you go into, and the women are housed there, and they're taken very good care of, and they're there voluntarily.
Yes.
And they don't have a quota.
Yeah. Yeah. And if they say no, then that's
So,
no.
Yeah.
You know, that they have say in it as well. I'm not surprised by reading this, but of course there had to be a Miami Madam.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's Miami.
Miami Madam.
So Martha Baina ducked a possible 25-year prison sentence by pleading guilty to running a multi-million-dollar prostitution ring out of 2 Corona brothels. She was 42. She commuted every other week from Miami to Queens to maintain a firm grip on 2 different brothels, which raked in more than $2 million a year. She pleaded guilty and was charged to enterprise corruption instead of
Star Trek Enterprise.
the initial charges.
Operation Corruption. Wow. Well, that was an interesting episode.
Right?
We're getting canceled for this one.
Why?
I don't know. You got me all scared now.
Why? No, I just there was a sentence in what you were reading that said something about traffickers, and I was like, what we're talking about is very different than that. This is voluntary sex workers, which, you know, they have every right to do what they wish with their body. And as long as it's on their terms and they're being treated properly, then they're, you know, it's a huge topic actually, like in a lot of counterculture or outskirt, conversations.
Stormy areas.
About the ability to actually make some of these things legal so that they're actually able to report the monies that they're making and do things above the board. Because it is every woman or every man's, it's their prerogative. And it is an industry. It
sure could be.
As long as it is done properly, then great.
And as long as it's not Friday.
We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.